Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults, as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say viewer discretion is advised.
What's going on? What's going on? Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. How's everybody doing this evening? A lot of people in here. So we're not going to do the roll call. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to all the moderators. Shout out to the MGM gang. We got a special guest in the house tonight. But first, I got to make a statement. Some of y'all probably wondering where Kirk is at. So let me just get that out the way really quick. We do got a guest host tonight. So, and we also have some corporate people that are going to be in the chat too. So moderators, let the chat be the chat, but not how the chat normally gets. So use your discretion. We got some corporate people that are watching tonight. So we got to filter the chat just a little bit, just a smidget. Now, that's the warning. Moderators, use your own discretion. That's my only warning I'm giving. The people who come late, they ain't going to get the warning. All right? Moderate as you see fit. All right? So
what's good, Don?
All right. What's going on? Give me 1 sec, Mike. Let me get this out the way because I want to get this out the way first. But you know what? What's going on, Mike?
Not much. I seen my boy Don Solo in the chat. I ain't seen him in a minute too. I was just saying what's up. That's on me. You good, bro?
No, it's cool. All right, let me get this situation out the way with Kirk. I got a statement real quick. So shout out to everybody that watched last week. Due to an incident during the last episode involving a dispute over free mentorship, we regret to inform you that Kirk will not be appearing on today's show. Now, there's no situation between me and Kirk. Me and Kirk are cool. I talked to him earlier today, talked to him yesterday, talked to him Saturday. Everything is fine. During the episode, a disagreement escalated with a viewer, resulting in some regrettable exchanges. Now, I don't know what was said because I don't speak, is it patois? Patois, but apparently there were some things that were said in patois that was just, I just found out what was said Saturday. And the reason that, I had to find out or was brought to my attention is because of why he's not on today. The situation was the reason why he's not on is because his mother was watching. And I guess whatever was said in patois, it was really offensive to the point where, she was upset and she just doesn't want him on the internet anymore. It has nothing to do with this channel. It has nothing to do with the show itself. It was strictly pertaining to that brief interaction between Kirk and the other gentleman. So it's not a reflection of the show at all. It's not a reflection on the channel. He's not even going to be on his channel. He was actually going to make a statement on his channel regarding that incident, and then was it the night of, the day after, when he spoke to his mom, he was going to do a live stream and basically bid his departure and let his audience know. But then after days went by, he just said he's not going to do it, and he told me to just do it here tonight. So, when he's coming back, I don't know. but he definitely said it won't be anytime soon. So, and that's a if, you know what I'm saying? I've trust me, I've tried talking to him. I've I said, man, what I got to do? Do I got to send mama a bunch of roses? Whatever I got to do, I was willing to do it to, you know, but so after that happened, someone in my Discord that speaks that language, translated to me what was said. And, once I heard what was said in patois, I can understand why she was upset. He made a second attempt to talk with her, but she just doesn't want him on the internet. What I'm telling you is what he wants me to tell you. All right. So these are in his words. You won't see him on his channel. Um, um, I don't know. As far as here, you know, I will keep people updated as far as this particular show that we co-host together. Uh, but unfortunately, that's the truth of the matter. Um, so I I don't know what else to say after that. You know what I'm saying? So um, hopefully, maybe after some more convincing, maybe the you know maybe some minds can change. But as of right now, it's a no go. So um, Entre Mike, what's up, man? Glad to have you.
Yeah, not much, man. First I want to say shout out to Kirk, man. We go years back. You can check my channel. We got a few live streams. 3-4 years ago, but to be completely honest, that was a different Kirk, more professional. A little quieter Kirk. But I think he's gonna end up coming back soon. So shout out to Kirk, man. You ain't reached out to me in a while. What's good, man? I know he watching.
Yeah, he watching. Shout out to you, Kirk. We we want you back, man. We want you back. Shout out to Mom Dukes. If you watching, listen. Mom Dukes, we're gonna keep him on his best behavior. We're gonna make sure nothing like that ever happens again. So shout out to moms. Well, Entre Mike. Entre Mike is a content creator that, when I first came into content, Entre Mike's channel was one of the ones that kept popping up in my algorithm. I forgot how we kind of first started, talking. I think it might have been on Kirk's channel.
Might have been either Kirk's channel or IG. You know what I mean? Because
Okay.
I know at one point I was just trying to collab with a lot of different creators. My bad. And bring them on, but I think it was through Kirk because I knew Kirk and I told Kirk about you, and then y'all ended up getting together and doing the Wisemen. So yeah, I don't know because I know another channel. I think it was through IG. It had to be through IG, probably.
I think I was on Kirk's channel and you might have told him about me, and then I think we just ended up communicating in the chat on one of his live streams. But either way, we've communicated, intermittently throughout the years, kept in contact. Really good guy. As far as content creators, he's one of the few that I've been able to interact with and not end up having any discrepancies with. Always been kind to me, fair, even when we have different viewpoints, we can talk about it amicably and not necessarily even come to a resolve, but we respect each other's opinion without having to go on the internet and go back and forth. So that's kind of what I appreciate about Entre Mike. So I'm glad you were able to come on the show tonight.
Yeah, man. Same to you, man. And like I said, man, sometimes we just talking about, it could be stocks, politics, trucking.
Yeah.
mentorship programs. It's a little bit of everything, but yeah, I'm pretty unbiased. I don't mind hearing other people's opinions. I hear them in the comment section all the time. So
Mhm.
when you open yourself up to entertainment and education, you're open to scrutiny. So
Yes,
you gotta
sir.
have an open mind. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir. Yes, sir. So let's get into the first topic. It is so I did this video, and it seems to just be like, the space, you know what I'm saying? It's just, everybody's got their
content.
viewpoint, but everybody disagrees with Big Mark, and that's fine with it. So you did your video yesterday.
Yes, sir.
You did your
So
video yesterday.
is there anything specific you want to dive into, or just overall the
Well,
broad
let 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 let's
synopsis of
let's
the video?
let's take a look at your video.
Okay.
At the moment where it's not going, we're not going to recap the whole video, but I just want to look at the moment and where obviously I disagree, and then we can go back and forth, and we can
That's cool.
state our viewpoints, and then we can go from there. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So right
You
here.
got to pay for the truck too. So the key thing that you guys want to know, as a conclusion of this video, is it possible? Short answer is yes. Starting a box truck company for $5,000 is possible. It requires careful planning and budgeting. You're going to need either a consultant, a nice insurance agent like myself who can walk you through the process. Because like I said, insurance or the truck is going to end up being your highest cost. The truck is something that, like I said, you go to rental route, you can shop around. Insurance is, you got to have somebody that knows what they're doing to not screw you over. Because at the end of the day, you still need an active authority, and you need the proper coverages to haul freight. But the considerations I got here is this approach involves a low initial cost, but your resources will be limited. You will need working capital for ongoing expenses and unexpected costs. So I didn't put that within the scope of cost. Of course, you're going to have the fuel for the first few weeks, like until you actually start getting paid. If you're wondering how you get paid, it's by having a factoring company.
All right. So I'm gonna stop it right there. I think they get the gist. So you said yes, you can start.
Yeah,
Go into
you can.
details, because I disagree with you. I
Yeah,
disagree
yeah.
with you.
So like I sent you that part of my PowerPoint. Um, I did a broad synopsis of all the basic costs, right? I think I left out tags out of that, but even if you round it up to, like, let's say 3K for the insurance and the down payment for the truck, those are things that are subjective to the carrier. So some guys might go to rental route, some guys might buy outright. I know guys putting 25, 30, 30K down on the insurance to pay in full. I know some guys who finance it. I can get some guys lower down payments for insurance. I know some guys for the rentals, they can get it. Some guys get their first deposit week free. Some guys pay the first week up. Some guys pay a few weeks up. So just depending on their scenario, it's possible, but is it practical? That's another debate. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily practical. You're gonna have higher expenses when you're running, but it's possible. It's just not practical. And like I
So
said, I
so
left out the working capital too. I'll go ahead.
so let me ask you this: Is working capital required to start a business?
It is, but I guess it's not like the underlining part of the video that I'm gonna make known, because everybody is quote unquote 6 month, you know, uh expenses that they need to have set to the side just in case the business, let's say flops, or we know the first 60 to 90 days is hard to get freight. I don't necessarily push too much of that content on my content, so to speak. It's the truth, and I make videos about how it's tough, but I can't say what the finite, like the actual number is that each individual carrier needs to have saved up before starting, because it's subjective.
So 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 this is what I'm saying, because the way I obviously, if you watch my channel, I say it's impossible. Why? Because you need working capital to start a business. A business without
Yeah.
working capital, you have no business. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's a fair
So
point. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna
go
let
ahead.
you
No, you
speak.
got it. No, you got it.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is that when people are watching these videos on how to start, to be completely honest, they don't care about how much they need to specifically have saved up. Do they need to have money saved up? Obviously, you know what I'm saying. But I don't include that in the cost when it comes to overall a hypothetical situation of starting for $5,000. You have videos where guys are starting with $3,000, $3,500. So I just made mine for $5K since it's been something that's been pretty popular in the algorithm. Actually, my
But
first time making a video like this. So
but see, that's where I think people get misled because let's just keep it a buck. A lot of people that come
keep it.
into this business, they're ignorant. So when they see content like that says 3,500, 4,700, 5K, that's all they consider. You got most of these people that even consider coming into this type of industry with that minimal money. We know a few things they haven't done. One of them is a business plan, because anybody that has any type of business common sense should know, without even kind of really even doing research, how can you come into this type of business with less than $5,000? And then they come in with that very low amount of money. And this is one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, most people fail, is because they run into some sort of situation. It doesn't have to be an extravagant situation, but you need working capital to sustain. Things are not going to go your way right away. The
For
learning
sure.
curve. The learning curve within itself is very costly. And this is what a lot of new entrants fail to realize. So when they see this type of content, to me, it's very misleading. Technically, yes, as far as, renting a truck, if you're able to acquire insurance without a huge down payment, which we see that a lot of people are having to put a large amount of
Oh, of
money
course.
down
I deal with it
now,
every day.
nowadays. But for the ones that don't, so some people are able to sneak in technically with a rental truck, the authority,
Perfect
a,
credit.
a perfect credit, lower insurance rate, with a little bit of money. Does that work practically? No. But here's
No.
the thing: working capital is something that you need. And the reason why I am straightforward and say it's impossible is because, like I said, most people that are coming into this business, especially this business from a box truck space, have no business acumen. Working capital is not something they even think of. They think they're gonna come in right away, start making money, and then that little money. Like, there was a guy, I clipped a video from one of my live streams, a 28-year-old, no money, was waiting on his taxes to go rent 3 trucks. And I'm asking him, well, what about working capital? Well, once we factor the first load, we'll use that money. I'm like, well, what if something happens? He's like, well, what can happen? Nothing can happen. You know how many
That's a fair.
people I've come across that the unthinkable has happened on their way to pick up their first load, or on their way to drop off their first load, or the load shifts in transit and they don't get paid and now they're stuck. There's
Yeah.
so many different scenarios I could talk about.
No, I agree with that. I mean, when picking up my first box truck, the turbo actuator was fucked up. So I know I can attend to that and I understand that everybody's situation won't be the same. If we had to put it in a percentile, right? I would say maybe 5 percentile could get away with starting off with low business costs like that with a decent amount of working capital on the side. But like I told you, offline, we didn't talk too much to keep this pretty authentic, but when editing the video, I use certain software applications to make my words sound a little bit better than they are, right? And if you pull up that one picture, you'll kind of see my thought process, and then versus what Gamma AI, the slide deck that I use for my videos, kind of projected, right? But I still
Okay.
put it, you would need working capital for ongoing expenses and unexpected costs. That's not a part of the overall cost to start up. Is it necessary? Of course. Did I include it in my 5K? It wouldn't be possible to. So I guess it's just being a content creator, trying to blur the lines between reality and what people want to see. Just being 100. So
What do you what do you what do you think an individual should have, and what do you think they should consider if they want to come in this industry uh, with a 26-foot box truck?
if you're saying capital wise, besides all the startup costs, I'd say probably minimum 6 month worth of like living expenses. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, all the costs that I went over in the video, honestly.
What about working capital? Because the way I educate people, you need living expenses and working capital to float the business. You need both.
But yeah, oh, go ahead. But working capital is super subjective. So if you buy a truck, you're required to maintenance. So let me ask you this: if you were to lease, rent, finance, or own a truck, aren't they going to have different working capital amounts? Because if I rent a truck, I'm paying extra for the maintenance. Versus if I bought a truck outright, of course, all the maintenance is on me, so they need higher working capital, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas for the rental, the guy who's renting, he's gonna be putting that quote unquote a lot of that working capital into the cent per mile. So I don't think everybody has the same working capital limit. Like I couldn't say for a rental you need to have X amount. For a guy who owns his truck, you need to have X amount because anything can happen. But I think it's the guys who go the owning route or financing the truck need to have more than guys who are renting for working capital, even though they're going to be paying more out to the rental company.
So you're right. Everybody's working capital is going to be different depending on how they enter, and then everybody's situation is different. A person who, let's say, still stays at home, I would still hope that they would have working capital, but they could probably have a tighter working capital budget versus someone who doesn't. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of their living costs are alleviated. So the money that they're making, they can kind of reinvest and they don't have to pay themselves so much. You see what I'm saying? Because their risk tolerance is a little bit higher. I get that point. But what I think a lot of people don't understand, and the reason why I tell people it's impossible, and I use that word impossible purposely, and I know it pisses people off. I've seen the little videos and shit like that, but can't nobody come up and effectively argue why. Because anywhere you look up as far as a business plan and building a business and starting a business, they're going to tell you need working capital, 3 to 6 months. Some places will say 12 months. And then it'll also say you need the same amount of money to sustain your cost of living, because you may start this business and no money may come in. Listen, you see some stuff play out on my channel where people come up and get their testimonies, and you hear some of these sad stories. If you think you've heard some sad stories of people coming up on my channel giving a testimony based off content they've seen that was misleading, the ones that don't come up that DM me, those stories are way worse.
I believe you. I've had those type of stories too. I know Kirk can attest to that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if you go through over 100 of my videos, you don't see many videos like this. I've just been trying to be more consistent, and I've been trying to apply more of my content to that demographic of people watching, some of these creators who are making way worse analogies and titles and thumbnails. Whereas I'm not propagating that if you start with $5,000, you're going to be rich tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's just like in a hypothetical situation, you start off with a rental, you got great credit. Here are all the business costs. Here's what's left. Here's your variable. Here's your fixed. Is it possible in a perfect world for some people? Maybe. Right?
Okay. So
that's what the video is kind of going over.
So a person starts, they only got a nickel. All they got is a nickel. They get a rental truck. They got their authority and everything. How does this person make it? That 5%, how do they pull it off? Let me know. I'm just curious. I just want to know, how does that person pull it off?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we're still not on the same page as far as working capital being something that is necessary, right? And it's in the video. It's just not explicit to the 5K that I mentioned, right? Because like I told you, some guys just want to know how much it costs. They don't they don't care about how much they need to have saved up. So I think that's where you can't really blur the lines with content. Like some guys are going to need more saved up than others for that working capital that you mentioned. But working capital is in the video. So I agree with you with that.
And see, right. So I guess this can kind of, I don't want to jump the gun and go into the next
Yeah,
talking
I
point.
know. Yeah,
But
we
see,
can stay on
this is this is why I'm straightforward and I say it's impossible, because I want people, like, I don't want people, because a lot of people don't understand technical versus practical.
Okay.
Technically, yes. Practically, no. Most of the people that come up don't even understand cost per mile that are
Yeah.
active. So the reason why I say it's impossible is because I want them to come in 100% ready to face whatever challenges may come at them. I don't want to tell them, well, technically, you can just get your rental truck, and if you can get some cheap insurance and you get your authority, yeah, but it's not practical. You're not working capital, because we've seen people come up. I've seen people in my comment section say crazy things like, well, we from the struggle. We going to make it work. And then they don't make it work. And then they have to come back with their tail tucked. And then I have to hold them accountable and say, I told you so. You need money. The business with no money, because they don't understand technical versus practical.
Fair point.
So me as a content creator, and with the blowback, because you've been creating content longer than me, you've seen blowback.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the harsh reality all the way through. I'm not gonna confuse me personally, a person that's on the new that really doesn't have a strong business acumen, and even give them the opportunity to think, okay, well, let me come in with this little and I'm gonna try to make it work, because the probability of that happening is minuscule. And I think we both know that. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
You put your video out as just I guess a general.
It's a general outline of the content. You know what I'm saying? Not to cut you off. And I know we're gonna get deeper into influencers and stuff, but maybe it's because I don't know my true influence and what I'm actually, propelling people to actually put their money into, rather than going over a hypothetical situation for content. Because I've seen much worse that I would never do. And that's why I usually don't make videos like this. And you hit me up and say, hey, we got to debate this, because this is probably one of the few videos that I watch from you that I truly just don't agree with, and that's why I'm here today. But I just see it as people watching and learning. I would rather, if these are the videos that are gonna bring people in to learn more about what it really starts to take, I don't mind making a video or two like this, to reel in that audience into more authentic content, because it's not easy. But I don't think they're watching. I don't think they're watching our channels though. You know what I'm saying? So if I want to get that demographic, the new entrants who really want to learn how to start, let's say at an affordable rate or the right way, or setting their business up, they watching, they on Instagram and Facebook. Keep it a buck.
It depends on the age demographic.
My age demographic.
Right, you're 26.
Yeah.
Right. So your age demographic is Instagram and TikTok. Would you agree?
Yeah. And I don't even have TikTok downloaded, but I believe you. And I'm on TikTok, but I deleted it.
So okay, let's stay on this. Let's stay on this. So what's your thoughts on Instagram and TikTok, as far as, because ultimately I agree with you, that's where it's coming from. So what's your thoughts on
terrible. It's terrible. I think that's the worst place where you can go get information, but it's an abundance of 15 to 30-second reels, whereas they don't sit down for 30 to 45 minutes or you for hours a day to give constructive criticism on how you should start your business. So that's not what I'm trying to influence people to do. I influence people to self-educate. I influence the people at the end of every one of my videos. Make sure you keep researching. Check the comment section. Oh, I love you. I love your content. I want to talk to you. Da, da, da. Hey man, don't stop here. Keep researching. So that's what I'm kind of putting out on my platform.
Okay. I agree. I crack jokes about the 30-second reels all the time, where they pointing up in the air like that.
Yeah. It ain't even their video. And they,
and right. And highly misleading to, new entrants, and then they scroll and they see the low board and they see all these lows, and they just think
Yeah,
it's so simple, and this is not a joke. I've joked on it before, and it's tax season. They wait on their taxes, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm dead serious.
I believe
They
you.
wait on their taxes, and they take their whole tax check to get in, and then I'll do a call-in show, and a lot of the viral clips from my channel from those call-in shows that I was releasing in the latter part of the year came from this time of the year last year, because those were all tax season entrants that were, real optimistic, and I was holding them accountable. A lot of those viral moments, like the 5400 rental truck guy, I don't know if you saw that one, who had to give Enterprise
Seen
the
a-
5400. He's
I
out.
think I saw
All
a bit of that. Yeah,
right, all those people are no longer. They got in and they got wiped out.
fair point.
You see what I'm saying? Because by the time they got to my channel, it was like it was already almost too late, or so many people were saying stuff the opposite of what I'm saying, to the point where once a person has their mind made up and they're very optimistic because they're watching that stuff on Instagram and TikTok, it almost makes me look like a hater. And I'm
Yeah,
like, damn, what reason I got to head on you? Everything you need, I got it.
that's
You see
fair.
what I'm saying? So I'm just keeping it funky with you. I'm not even selling you anything. I'm giving you the harsh reality, but there's not many people that's giving the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's just like I say, good is good.
Can I speak on that though?
Good. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So how many people you think are really researching federal interest rates and Jerome Powell and what his decisions do to the economic market? Because you came in basically
Let,
at high fuel cost, high inflation. They basically took the interest rates from zero up to record high, like what 8 or 9%. So you knew what the economy was turning into. Regular viewers, regular people watching content don't know that, right?
well,
You
that's
sold your trucks at a record high versus guy buying them at a record high.
right.
They can't see they can't see it without learning the information first. They're just watching YouTube videos, right?
Right. So to answer your question, how many people, as far as like the Jerome Powell question, that are coming into this actual space, I can say less than 1%.
Okay, so you came in with a less than 1% mind. You can talk about creators too.
Who
Who's mentioned?
I came in with a less than 1% mind.
No. You came in with the less than 1% knowledge,
Okay, right.
right? So
Right.
and content creators wasn't talking. I didn't start learning about that till after COVID, and just really trying to wonder why the stock market was at all time highs during the epidemic.
Yeah. And when I came in talking about that, I don't know when you started watching my channel, I got a lot of flack back then. It wasn't until peak season when
Did you get
people,
back from me?
I didn't get flack from you because you're smart.
You see what I'm saying?
You're smart. I've talked to you offline. You are one of the smart ones. You know what I'm saying? Not, and I'm not saying people are stupid, but a lot of people, when it comes to business, is one thing, right? You can trucking,
It's such a niche market. You know what I mean? And it's only so much
right?
to say about it. So it's easy to make content in the driver's seat of a box truck holding $5,000 and 20s next to a Mercedes and saying you can get rich in trucking. And honestly, that's what 2020 through 2022 was, right? When you had me, honestly, me, even with my partner at the time, it was a lot of just showing our journey, fucking up, being green, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And I don't mind saying I was that person. You know what I'm saying? I was learning. But what I know now, it's not like I would tell guys to go and do the same thing. But if they've already made that decision, if they've already saved their capital to make that decision, I'm not gonna deter them away from it and be, I'm not gonna call you a dream killer, but I let them make their own decisions, right? And we talked about a creator accountability. We're gonna get into that later in this live stream. But you used to hold the viewer more accountable than the creator back then, where I was like, Mark, it's the opposite. The creators a piece. The creators aren't doing what they should be doing. The creators aren't holding themselves accountable, right? And now it's kind of like it's flipped, right? Where the viewer don't have to be as accountable. We need to hold the influence. And I've always been about that. That's why I'm holding myself accountable by putting myself on the show.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I still hold the
You do.
viewer accountable. I've scaled back over the course of the past 2 months because, you know, different times of the year you get different people coming in, and towards that fourth quarter people were starting to get soft, and I just kind of scaled back. See, because I knew once I scaled back it was going to increase the demand for it more. Once people miss something, then they realize how valuable it really was, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I don't have to do it, but people were getting soft. People, and then there was an issue with the Daniel kid where I just really got it, man. People were giving it to me in the comments, and they were just giving it to me in the live stream. But everything I told the kid was going to happen, it ended up happening. He had to come back and admit to it, and I then started trying to hold those people accountable for trying to hold me accountable for being tough on him for just just outside of business, just being older. Like, I'm 20 years older than you.
Yeah.
So like I can incorporate my business experience, plus I've lived a lot longer than some of these
To see
guys that
things.
come up on the channel. Right. So
Yeah.
I'm incorporating my life experience because even with him, he doesn't really understand what it takes to run a business, right? Where there's a lot of uncertainty and still maintain a household on your own when there's no, it's not like going to a job punching the clock. There's still uncertainty there, but every day I'm going, this is my scope of work. Every Friday or every other Friday, I get paid.
Yeah.
With business, it's not like that, and you still have to maintain your household. You see what I'm saying? So when I try to explain, I'm seeing things that a lot of these guys that come up here, especially the younger ones, don't see, because not just the fact that they lack that business acumen, they're just not old enough to even understand what life is going to throw at them later. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
And I'm
trying to
still
get
getting
them.
to that point. You know what I'm saying? I ain't in my prime right now, so I'm just learning as much information as I can. But I know one thing we probably both can agree on is that trucking is cyclical. So right now we're
It's
still on
definitely.
the downtrend, right?
Mhm.
And with who got elected, with tariffs right now, it's pretty shaky. It's scary because we know, if anything, the shippers are probably not gonna be passing the prices just to consumers, but they're probably gonna be trying to save money in logistics too. So
Mhm.
but we can go nowhere but up right now. I know we're dealing with immigration and stuff of that nature, a big minority base in trucking, but I think trucking will have another cycle. We just don't necessarily know when. It could be Q1 26, it could be Q4 25. I don't necessarily know.
What
But that's
what
kind of why I'm still creating content too. I think there will be another cycle.
what would you compare that cycle to?
When was the last good one? Was it
See,
18?
see, that's what I'm saying. When
You
did
know
you
what
come in
I'm
the truck? When
saying?
did you come in the truck? That's why I asked you that question. When did you come in? So you telling me?
Yeah.
So
On the
what
other
you
note,
gonna compare it to?
that's a great point. That's what I'm telling you. I'm still learning myself, right? So I
Okay.
know it's gonna be cycles, and I know the next up is coming. And that was the one you retired off of, right? Yeah, that's the
So
one you
so
sold a
so
lot of assets off of,
right.
right?
So you came in during the pandemic,
The high up, yeah. And
and
I
now
was on the line up.
okay. So you haven't really experienced or let me ask you this: do you know what a normal
Freight
cycle looks
market.
like in truck? Yeah. Do you know what a normal freight market looks like?
I've asked about him. You know what I'm saying? I talk to my boy Sage all the time. He's a freight broker, been in the game 20 years. But as far as living through it, I didn't have that. I didn't. I just had really good and really bad. You know what I mean? But I don't think anybody's seen something like 22. But you also didn't see anything like early 21, late 2020, where rates
Well,
were
well,
inflated world, right? Go
well.
ahead.
There was a freight recession in 2019.
Couldn't have been worse than 22.
It wasn't worse than 22 because you had an event, the pandemic, that caused 2022. But there was a freight recession in 2019. A lot of trucking companies went out of business in 2019.
I bet you. I would love to see the number of companies that went out in 2019, right, versus Q1 of 2020 when the pandemic first hit, or Q2 after March.
It won't be comparable and because of the amount of entrants that came in 2020 and 2021.
Fair, yeah. Look, 23 is probably ridiculous, horrendous, like a bloodbath. But that's why I know. I mean, yeah, we may only get a steady incline of rates. And I've been studying the load board. I did a video on DAT today, and rates have been in certain areas. I think out of all states, PA, believe it or not, PA and Illinois were the best 2 states. I have been seeing rates trend up in other places like Ohio, Indiana, where rates were usually higher with usually lower freight but lower demand with trucks not being in that area. I've seen freight rates actually stay pretty steady and kind of trend downwards. So I don't know what's really going on with tender rejections. I got to read something on freight waves tonight to kind of see.
Okay. So you said 2026. You said 2026, right?
Q1.
Q1 what?
2026.
Q1 2026 what?
I think that's the next cycle. I think that's the next. I don't know if it's going to be. And it may be.
Well, hold on. Upward trajectory.
Upwards for sure.
Q1.
We're steady right now.
Q1 2026.
I think upward trajectory. We got to get past this tariff situation, and we got to see what they're going to do. I think one thing that could inflate the market temporarily could be like the Doge dividends. I haven't been researching too much into that, but it give a lot of the PPP stimulus type money, where if you're putting more money injecting into people's hands and inflation starts going up for products, rates start going up because they got more excess capital to give to shippers and receivers, we could see a spike in rates from something like that. But we need an influx of money for people to have to invest.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Hey, look, I ain't saying it's gonna be perfect.
Got 150 people watching right now. We go.
Look, that's my opinion. Because if not, Mark,
I'm joking.
I know. Because if not, we gotta believe it's just gonna crash and burn forever until automation takes over.
You know what? Can I tell you something?
Illegals.
Can I tell you something?
Go ahead.
I hope the bottom does come out. How you feel about that? So
you hope it stays this way?
I hope it crashes.
Harder.
Yes. I pray.
You think that'll give people an opportunity to reset? Like, so maybe for an investor, for yourself to get back in, or do you think logistics will be dead?
It's going to give me an opportunity to go shopping.
Well, of course you want that.
Listen, I'm gonna go on the shopping.
But I'm pretty sure the shopping spree.
And guess what? When that cycle does come back, that's when we're gonna offload. When that trend comes back around, that's when I'll offload.
I can't see us dipping lower. You ain't gonna be able to get bread.
I didn't say it was. I said I hope.
No, I know. I understand that. It's kind of like everybody's saying it's gonna be a recession with housing, whereas in 2008 I was in the 5th grade, so of course I didn't get to live through that. Mm-hmm. So it's a possibility on the table, but I think with the crash we've seen in 23, it's plenty enough of those new entrants, not all, but a lot of them that went out of business, along with guys who are tenured in this business who just get tired of that cyclical nature. A lot of the super trucker community said screw it, right? We've seen guys been on the road 40 years, 4.5 million miles. They're done, more than ever before at this rate. So somebody has to come in and replace it. If not, what are we going to do about logistics? Is it just going to be automation?
Well, they say
Is the owner operator gone?
For every 6 super truckers that are exiting, so let's say boomers that are exiting this industry, only 2 Generation Z are replacing those seats.
I believe that. So what's your solution for when it crashes? Who's going to replace the seat at this rate?
Well, when I say crash, I'm talking about the economy in general. What I'm going to do has nothing to do with assets or assets, whether paper assets, whatever. It's opportunity. See,
Yeah, I'm a
I,
crypto guy.
I look at, and even just that, I look at money as a tool. I
That's fair.
understand how things work. You know, the reason why the rich get rich and the rich stay rich is because they buy when the
Appreciate
people
it.
that follow trends don't.
Yeah.
It's just like Warren Buffett says, when people are greedy, you should be fearful. When people are fearful, you should be greedy.
Well,
Right?
we had a
So
conversation about that, right? Because you
yeah.
feel like the rug being pulled out of the stock market right now, where at inflated rates. You know, he's been pulling money out of the stock market and sold a lot of Apple. But aren't these prices where you want to be buying if it's dipping? You know, I
Right
guess in
now,
my what I'm investing
me,
into.
with me, I have long term and I have short term. And long
Okay.
term is stuff that I don't really pay attention to. It's just dollar cost average and
These,
just
yeah.
leave it alone. You see what I'm saying? I don't even care. I don't even look. I don't care. It's just DCA. It's not something that I'm probably going to even be remotely interested in even thinking about another 10, 15, 20 years. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? And then we have, short term. Right now, it's volatile.
Yeah.
Short term investing right now, there's a lot of uh, volatility. When I'm talking about crash, I'm talking about '08 crash. I'm talking about March of 2020 crash. I'm talking about that week where there's some type of catastrophic event type crash. I'm looking at one of those. I'm waiting for that, and we're
Okay.
due up. We're due up for one. We're
Man,
due up
I
for
don't
one.
think I think
I'm
Jerome is
not,
gonna pray his way out of it, just like we did in
you said you
2020.
said you said he gonna pray his way out of it.
He's gonna print his way out of it. He's gonna
Oh,
keep
you saying
printing
he's gonna
money.
print his way out? Yeah.
He's gonna turn the dollar printer
Well,
back on.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I do, because like you said, you were in the fifth grade in '08. And in '08, when it happened, 2010, I got into this industry and I was able to make money. People were losing their homes, and I was able to take advantage of that, moving
Yeah.
people, right? So that helped to catapult me. That unfortunate time period is what helped to catapult me, because there was just so many people losing homes. There was just so much moving. So I was able to capitalize on that time period in that aspect. But I
Mhm.
wish I would have been financially sound at that particular time, that I could have acquired real estate, because I was real estate here, 2 or 3 flats going for $20, $20,000. You know what I'm saying? But I was in the beginning phases of building a business. So yes, I'm
Yeah.
looking for that type of time period. Not necessarily for the housing market, but just when the economy crashes and just all assets are on sale.
I think what we're gonna see is a way where I think we're gonna enter a inflation stage. We're already there. I think they're just gonna print to where their debts are lower. They're gonna print so much money to where they can pay off their past debts due to the rate of inflation being so high. Like, what's gonna be what's our national debt? Is it like 50 trillion or something crazy?
Something like that, yeah.
Let's say they just print 100 trillion within 10 years. That 50 trillion is now less, and our dollar is going to be worth less, and our real estate, our asset, our crypto, all of that's going to be worth more due to the dollar being less. But I think they're going to go to hyperinflation route. I don't think they're going to let another crash happen. That's just my opinion.
You
I
don't think
mean,
so?
it'll be way worse. I think it'll be way worse than '08 because we're in way more debt. The entire
That'd be
country.
that'd be great. You don't like so
It'll
you
be
don't
great for
like
you.
you don't
It'll be
like that,
great for
do you?
you with a big wad of cash ready to buy,
So,
but I bet I can say I'm not picking on the chat when I say this. Just say 80% of the chat would be in a horrible position, right? Unless they had
uh,
tons of money in the sideline.
no, it's a lot, a bunch of people. Well, some my members.
Okay,
So I had some
that's my
members
bad.
that just
I talked to a lot of new entrants with low capital, so that's on me.
this is,
I'm
but we living in a capitalistic society. But this is what people need to know. This is the information that people need to know so that they can get their mindset right. So if they miss, let's say a crash happens next week, and let's say another crash happens in another 8 years, they'll be ready. They'll have that mindset, right? So
sure.
this is the mindset that, and see, this is where I guess people get upset, but this is reality. People want to be rich, right? You got a lot of people that thinking they're gonna get a box truck with $5,000 and they're gonna make a gazillion dollars. No, you're not. This is the way you're gonna do it. You're gonna put yourself in a position where you start from humble beginnings, you work your way up, you stash money, you invest into other things, you create multiple streams of revenue so that when these opportunities do present themselves, because you've gone about things the right way, you're in a good financial position where you have cash on hand and you can take advantage of these things. You're able to buy assets at a low cost. So then when the next trend happens, when everybody's making money, then everybody's, oh, get a box truck because everybody's got money. You're smart enough to see the bottom, right? It's going to crash. Now you're selling off your assets way higher. And then the cycle repeats itself.
That's a good point. I guess I just been living in, I guess fairy tale land and thinking they're just going to keep resulting to printing money to keep a crash from happening. Because when we crash, they crash too, right? And we do want to see the corporations give off some of their assets to us, but we got to be in a position first to have capital, And right now, at least from a trucking standpoint, it's hard to build up that capital stockpile that you're talking about to be able to invest, because the rates, not only is inflation volatile, but the rates are volatile. Like I said, I've been kind of looking at the rates and they're not really stable anywhere. I think that's where I can say with the rental too, you can say I was kind of somewhat wrong on it, because you probably shouldn't get a rental, especially at scale, if you don't know what your cost of operations are going to be at a steady pace, because the rental is going to be steady. I was talking about this in my live last night. The rental gonna hit you for the same amount depending on how many miles you run and what your weekly rate is, but you can't go on a load board and maybe with Final Mile you can dictate your price a little bit more, but on a load board you can't just say, hey, I'm gonna get X amount because I need to run at this rate to be profitable. The freight broker really don't care. So that's a good point.
Well, that was a good debate. Let's jump into the next topic. You ready to jump into the next topic?
Yes, sir. Let me say this too. I think I didn't even see it back there. I don't think I had my camera on the charger correctly, so it may go out, but I'll just put it on the Mac. Is that cool?
You want to switch your cameras?
Like the camera I'll do it if it go dead. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
You ready for the next topic?
Let's do it.
All right. So since we kind of talked about the $5,000 thing, we kind of were getting into it, but let's just go ahead and get full into it now. You're a content creator. I know you took a break, came back.
Yes, sir.
So we're both content creators, and we see a lot of people come into the space, but a lot of people don't stick around because majority of them fail, right? This is a hot topic. A lot of people don't like to touch it. You know me, I like to touch the shit that don't nobody else like to touch. Our content creators misleading people. There's a bunch of reasons why people fail, but our content creators, influencers, one of the main reasons why a lot of people that are coming into the space are failing, because they're being misled. What's your thoughts?
It's an easy way to say it's 50-50, but I can easily say yes. I can say yes. I wouldn't put myself as one of the creators who do that. I think I keep it pretty raw, pretty authentic. I show the good, the bad, the ugly, more the bad than good. But there are specific creators, and they know who they are, who are disingenuous, right? And I like y'all. I like your show. I like the Wisemen because y'all do a good job bringing creators accountable. Sometimes a little too accountable. To their actions and what they do. You know what I mean? When it gets personal. I say when it gets personal. I don't think you guys do it often. I'm not saying it's you, Mark.
I don't get personal, but we can keep it funky. Kirk. Here's what I'm gonna say about Kirk.
I mess with Kirk.
Anybody that watches Kirk's channel knows that if you get into it with him, he's not gonna keep it on the con. He's the type of person, if you get into it, a fight, it could be a fist fight. If he see a brick, he gonna pick a brick up. He gonna pick a stick up. So he's the person that if you've told him anything, any of your deepest, darkest secrets, he's gonna use that. He's
For
gonna
sure.
go outside the scope. And he said that. Me, I make it my business to keep, because I promote it, like keep it on the content, keep it on the content. I don't go personal because then you lost. I try to keep, I do keep
A
mine
barrier. You
within
know
the
what I'm
scope.
saying? Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. I do keep mine on the scope of the content. That's why certain shit I just ignore it. You know what I'm saying? And I may just ignore some shit because once you said what you said as far as the content, then that's where I leave it at. You know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think I don't go personal. Me
Nah, you
personally.
don't go. No, I was saying the channel has a reputation of, even if it's to call and show some guys giving testimonials and stuff like that, it's not coming directly from you, but it's coming from
Okay.
other sources. Is all I'm saying. You got a very open platform, and it needs to be open. It needs to be channels like this for accountability. But depending on the creator, it can be a little harsh, depending on if you know that person's intention or not. Like you bringing me on. I don't know how many people in the chat do know who I am or heard of my past to watch my journey, but I don't think anybody think I've been on here, trying to show a dream or a fallacy lifestyle about being a trucker. So that I guess that's why I'm speaking on that. And I know since we're already on this topic, you used to always talk about one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Viewer accountability, right? And I used to actually be less harsh on them and
Mm-hmm.
more harsh on creators. So I made a few videos like the let's say the $2,500 course scam or this type of scam, or watch out for people who do X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. So I haven't gone as far as to name calling and saying XYZ is a POS, but I'm real enough to know it's a thin line between guys who on here just trying to make content and show their journey versus guys who are trying to sell a product, right? And it's not one person in this live or on my channel's entire history who could say I bought a mentorship program from Entre Mike, period, because I never had one. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of my viewpoint. I've been neutral enough, but I've been more to where I know some creators are just doing a little too much to get clicks and views. And I'm starting to try to get myself in their algorithm now, to take that audience away and put them to more valuable information. So I guess that's why.
Wait, so you finna put your foot on some people's neck, Mike?
No, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't putting no foot on it. I can't
You
necessarily
said
do
you
that.
finna try to take people audience away. Listen, Mike, it's only so
I'm
many
trying
people
to.
create. It's only so many people. Listen, the space ain't like it was when
Yeah,
you
that's
was
true.
really, really active with 2021, 2020. When did you start creating content? What year was that?
It was what, end of 20 or very like January of 21, like
Okay.
basically.
So
Yeah,
you came in when if you put a video out, it was going to do numbers. You was going to do
hell yeah.
numbers. Subscriber
I got
base was
money.
running up.
Yeah. I got the 4K watch hours 20 days. Like it was ridiculous. It didn't even make sense. I didn't even know why I was making the video. That's what I'm saying. I was so green. I just wanted to show everybody how to start without necessarily making a course or some type of mentorship program, and helping in that way. And I think that's where a lot of beautiful channels, I'll say, because it's a good solid, I say 5 channels that I highly respect them for what they do for the community. They may have a program where they charge people, but it's all love and it's a fair price and they'll actually get their value from it. And then there are others, there are what they say in the, I guess, the financial space, grifters. And those are the
What
type
is
of guys.
that? I hear that word a lot. I'm old, man. Put me on game. What is that?
Man, I'm trying not to name drop nobody.
No,
Not necessarily
no. You
even in,
don't
no,
name
not
drop.
even in this space. Not even in this space. I'm just saying.
Tell me what grifters. All these new words that y'all come up with. I don't know.
Maybe that's a Gen Z word. I guess grifter is a mass manipulator. Somebody who tells you if you buy my magic course for $5,000, you'll make it back in the next week, type of deal. And you know it really holds no substance, because what they really gonna do is send you a PDF, maybe with a video or two and some affiliate links, and say it's worth it. Because I've seen it.
I think that's a good business model. You create something and then you're able to recycle and sell it over and over and over and
Fair,
over
fair.
again.
It has to be valuable though.
Right.
And I guess what we deem valuable is subjective. So that's why I say I may be a little too hard on the creators, because I see some Googleable, it ain't a word, but content that you could just search with Chat GPT nowadays. But
Mm.
it wasn't there in 2020. We were all figuring it out in 2020, and I think that's why the misrepresentation that they were doing, they may have not known they were doing. They probably thought it really was that valuable, or their time, right, is that valuable. But I guess that's something that I may disagree on for certain creators.
I think some people knew what they were doing, and I
For
think
sure.
some were ignorant. I think some are still ignorant, um, because there's a motive behind it. And I agree with you. I think, part of the reason people fail is because they're being misled. Even with the whole $5,000 thing,
Yeah.
I think if you tell a person they can start this business for $5,000 or less, you're leading a person into a world full of hurt. And I think it's because it's like this. When you tell a person that they can make so much money, an exorbitant amount of money, but it's only going to cost them a very little amount to make it, and then you have a product that you're selling, right?
Yeah.
It's marketing, right? You're going to be able to sell more products because, listen, for this little bit of money, you can make this amount of money.
Fair.
All right. So that helps to increase people spending money on whatever the product it is they're selling. They don't care if a person
Well,
survives or
maybe
not.
maybe if I did, like, maybe not necessarily a call-in show. I don't know if what's the, like, what I'll have to do to legally make it right for YouTube. But maybe if I had some of my recorded calls where in the past 6 to 9 months, if after this call, during this call, I can show you hundreds of free consultations, free game, whatever I had on the top of my head to tell people whether it was the right thing or not. But I'm not, when if somebody get on the phone and tell me their business plan, I'll say, yeah, that ain't it. And they can't say, oh, well, you said it. Yeah, I said it's very possible. I didn't say it was practical. Like, depending on your subjective situation, or if you have working capital to actually make it work. So I agree with you, but I can also say, in order to reach that demographic of people who we know are being misled the most, whether that's on short form content platforms like TikTok or IG, or even with YouTube, it's guys who make long form content, and uh it's guys who make long form content and are not genuine, right? They're the quote unquote grifter. But I think my way of trying to maybe bring that demographic to mind, I can't start a smoke show or something, right? I guess it may be making the more
How
clickbaity
come?
titles that I don't normally
Why you
do.
can't? Why you can't do a smoke show? I do
I
one.
don't know. Maybe not a smoke show. Maybe a call in. Maybe I start doing a call in. I got some things to learn when it comes to production and stuff. I got the little light and stuff that I'm working on, but I'll get there eventually. I think I can get there eventually. So we'll see.
So what do we need to do to kind of? Well, let me ask you this: what do you think? Do and I know what you're going to say. Creators should have some type of moral compass, right? When
Yeah.
okay, so how do I want to ask you this? What do you think a big part of the misleading is for financial gain, or do you think? And we're talking from today because
That's fair.
I think during the pandemic, a lot of the misleading was due to ignorance. A lot of the people that were coming in that were creating content, they thought that what was going on at that particular time was going to last forever. So the misleading that's going on now, where do you think it stems from?
Profitability. Because if it takes me, let's just say $100 a month to stream my content, and I don't know, make whatever.
I think his camera must have Overheated. He says he's gonna call back if his camera overheats from his Mac. Why is this Shadow the Hedgehog guy? Did your guys time him out? Because he just keeps saying the same thing over and over. Or did you just get rid of him altogether? Yep.
Yeah, that's me. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Dang, man, I got another battery pack back there, but I ain't gonna worry about it. I'll just have a few batteries next time. Am I still in the live?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So damn, what was I?
We were talking about you said profitability. You're gonna have to turn
Yeah,
off
profitability.
you're
Yeah,
gonna have to turn off the replay, whatever you playing it on. In the back, we hear the echo.
I ain't even playing. Oh,
Well,
what
it
about
went
now?
away now. It's good. It's good. Yeah, we
Okay,
was
yeah, I
talking about
had to stream.
profitability.
Yeah, so let's say it takes me $100 all in a month to keep my platform going. Let's say I got some type of course website, a few editing platforms, or whatever the case may be, and then the courses that I bring in are making what? I say they doing about, let's say, 4 to 5 grand a month, maybe on mentorships, maybe on courses. What business model do you know where you can spend $100 a month and make 5 grand? And that's really some of these guys, and they were open about it. I'm pretty cool. One of them, Demetrius B, and he sold a low cost product like 150, and it was valuable. It was worth it, and sold it at scale to where he made 150 grand within 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Off of a course or a mentorship.
$150 course, no mentorship.
And this was what 2021, right?
2021.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So I think right now it ain't that many people green enough to, with all this free information, channels like yourself, to do it. But and that's one thing that I could easily do. I'm gonna be honest, not selling a high ticket course or mentorship, but it would be easy to be deceptive and say, oh, you can get rich in this industry and sell a course, but it depends on where your moral compass is, right? In order to actually do it or not. So that's my.
I don't. I always think about if I was creating content in 2020 and 2021.
You would have been rich.
How? Well, I would have. Here's the thing. I would have. See, I'm not looking at it from that perspective.
I know.
When I came in creating content, the same way I create content now, as far as like how I kind of target things that a lot of people don't target. Like I was coming in with the economy, and I was telling people, listen, y'all tweaking. It ain't gonna be no, like, I know buddy down the content hallway told you was gonna go rent you some extra trucks. Peak season coming. Nah, you ain't gonna see none of that. It's about to crash and burn. Da 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 da. Freight Waves told you 2023 gonna be bad. I know they telling you 2024. Well, Mark, who are you? Freight Waves is saying 2023. Trust me, pimp. And people that have been following my channel, they can attest to this. Yeah. It ain't looking good. So
I was watching.
Yeah, you were watching. So I would have been saying the same shit that I was saying in 2022 and 2021. I would have been prepping you in 2021 for 2022, except 2021, I would have been telling you that you're in a euphoric phase of a bubble. Snap the hell out of it. Snap out of it.
Yeah, with your moral compass, then you probably wouldn't have made any money because you probably wouldn't have been trying to deceptively get people into your quote unquote mentorship program, coaching calls, or course that you were selling. I was saying if you went that route, you probably would have made money. Same for me if I did it, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
And when I came in, I say this all the time. I thought about when I first started creating content, mentorship, because I saw everybody else doing it.
It can make sense.
I thought about it, but then I started to see backlash. Then I started to research why there was backlash. And then I most of the backlash that I saw was due to ignorance on the creator's behalf, because I'm looking at it, okay, I see why this person feels upset. Just some brief research, looking at a person's channel. They just created the channel 4 months ago. The first video just started my box truck business just rented my first box truck with a link for Calendly and, tap in, hit the link. So here's a person that literally just started 4 months ago. I got a common enough sense to be like, okay, well, you paid X amount of dollars for consultation and mentorship from someone that literally just started 4 months ago. So basically, y'all starting together. What type of value do you look? So this is where, at that time, when you said you first saw me, I was holding the viewer accountable for making a goddamn, that's foolish.
But how do you know? How can you hold people to that same rhetoric for guys who started in late 2020 or 2021, where all they knew was honestly one or two people, right? So the information felt like gold at the time. Well, right now it feel like
how can information feel like gold coming from someone that's just as green as I am?
I think we had a lot of hopium in COVID, right? We had a lot of people laid off from the jobs, taken from 401k, who just wanted to make a difference in their life. So we know that comes from a lot of struggle, humble beginnings, just wanting more. And at that time, more than ever, you've seen a lot of duress. You've seen a lot of stressed out people wondering how they were going to make it. They may have only had, 10, 15K left. And you see this content where you can make 20K gross, maybe take home 40-30% of that at the expenses, and they may have only been making, let's say, $20 an hour at the day job. So it was this opportunity like never before, where demand for freight were at all-time highs, and the cost of entry was at a damn near all-time low. It just made sense at the time, not to do it, but to take that risk.
So I would have been the most hated creator in this space.
You would have been the most hated. Now that I think about it now, if you weren't trying to be deceptive to sell a product, but more so educating people into not doing it, you still would have gotten traction. But they probably wouldn't even put you in the algorithm, dog. Not because you're not good at what you do. But
I would have been the most hated. At that particular time, I would have been the most hated. It would have came around, but I would have had to wait damn near 2 years, because what really started getting me the traction was peak season. Peak season is when people had already been looking at the channel, but they weren't rocking with what I was saying because it was the opposite of what everybody else was saying. And that was a broad, because I 99% believed that what I was forecasting for peak season was going to, but it was still that 1%. Well, damn, if I'm wrong, my content creation days are over with. You know what I'm saying? But if I would have started in 2021, I would have still been talking the same thing, but I would have been a year ahead, and I would have had to deal with the shit that I dealt from April to November of 2022. I would have had to deal with a whole year prior until we got to November, because even during the decline of the summer of 2022, when gas rates were still high, there were still some people making it, and that hopium, like you say, which I tell people,
it was tough too.
Don't draw off it. It was still there, and people were still had that euphoria, and the bottom got pulled out their ass in November. Whatever little hope they had, it got snatched up out their ass in November. It got snatched up out their ass in November.
22. When the rates didn't end up spiking back up. 22. Yeah, I
remember because the rates were coming down, and what the people that were starting to struggle from the summer of the fuel going up and the rates coming down, their hope was peak season. All right, we're gonna run it up peak season. We're gonna get it back peak season. Peak season coming around. Content creators were promoting peak season. Don't worry, peak season around the corner, because they were going off peak season of 2021, which was like euphoric. I've never seen it. It was very euphoric, but that was a one and done. And that was based on what was going on in the economy with the stimulus. People were giving money to stimulate the economy, and that they did. Okay, a year later, there's still money lingering, but Man and Lil Folk them, they already done blew they bag.
That's a fair point.
The retailers had over ordered. Once supply chain started to pick up, they increased their orders in case of another government shutdown so that they wouldn't have empty shelves. That's why you start to see all the containers pop up in the back of Walmart.
Yeah.
They were overstocking purposely. So the freight was already where it needed to be. There was nothing to move. It was already in place.
Yeah.
And then by that time, a lot of the money had dried up, and people that had money had bought everything earlier in the year. Everything that they ever wanted, they bought it already.
Yeah. And I think tariffs ain't making that no better now, like moving forward. So, yeah, we got to see how that's going to go into this year. I think the next 2 quarters are going to be kind of unpredictable when it comes to the volatility of the rates, but hopefully we get this figured out and somehow
it's going to get bad before.
Oh, yeah.
If
the
there
next
any signs of good, it's going to get bad. And because there's going to be a lag.
Yeah, we're even expecting our book of business to possibly dip for that reason. So this isn't just trucking. I mean, as an insurance company or agency that's directly related to trucking, truckers going out of business is not good for our book of business, right? Mm-hmm. So, that's something that we're kind of studying and looking into too. But we got to hope with the political campaign that was promised that there is some hope, maybe not in this year, but maybe Q1 26.
How long do you think the lag is going to be?
Man, it's so unpredictable right now. I say minimum 2 quarters. Minimum 2 quarters. Hopefully, I'm hoping that the fall into winter, even though that's not even because of peak season, historically for dry vans, it is better from a spot market projection, but it's just a lot going on, bro. Even with this whole immigration deal, I think that's not going to impact trucking to a huge scale, but it's going to impact it, right? Depending on what immigration people that they target as a whole. So, because we are very much, as far as new entrants, minority based. I can 100% say that from just being on the phones. Majority of people getting in are minorities, So it's going to be interesting for sure.
When you say minority,
and a lot of people thinking Hispanic. I mean, Caribbean. I mean, African, like South African, West African. I have all type of clients, which I was actually shocked by. You know what I'm saying? But they're getting in at a very high rate at this point. Still.
So let me ask you that. And when you say minority, you're talking about people that have migrated here legally from other countries.
Yeah, legally, right. And I'll also say, just honestly, blatantly, people of color, African Americans, more than the other, are entering trucking right now at higher rates than others. So I'll just say any minority versus the other option, I guess you could say.
Let me ask you this: for African Americans, why do you think African Americans are coming into trucking?
I think it starts with the whole the CDL thing, right? It's become a thing in trucking. Like, it went from people talking about the PPP, how they gonna get money off the PPP and make money, to, well, this ish don't work out, I'm just gonna go get my CDLs. It's almost like a part of our culture. Whereas now I'm on Facebook, I don't see a lot of box truck, hotshot videos, cargo van videos. I see a lot of, African American guys, whether it's comedy like Larry or just some young bucks, young dudes driving a truck for a company, for Pepsi, for Coca-Cola, Walmart, UPS. Like, it's just more, I don't want to say indoctrinated in our culture, but it's more relevant now, more than ever before. Maybe it's because of COVID, and then those same guys who are working for companies are thinking to themselves, well, how can I start my own? And then they're coming into the owner-operator space.
I see more people leaving the owner-operator space going company driver now. Because a lot
I can believe that, because they
can't afford to run. They just can't afford the cost to run anymore.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think Axel brought this up last night on live. And it made me ponder a little bit. Like, should you drive for a company for a year before making that decision? I think just to know you like trucking, because it's a different lifestyle, that might be the most practical way before even having. You can have 100,000 saved up. It just don't make sense starting something that you won't enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Where in our culture we don't necessarily care. It's just like, how can I make money?
Mm-hmm.
I was one of them guys. Like, I'll hustle hard. I don't give a damn what it is. If I can make $15,000-$20,000 a month profit, that's what people telling me. I'll go balls to the walls. Like, I go till I can't no more type of deal. But now you got to be more. You got to be more conscious of the fact that people are not just leaving because of the money issue, but because of the lifestyle of trucking. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's my viewpoint on it.
All right. Man, you got any other questions, man? I think I want to probably wrap it up here, man. I think this was a very
We here?
great conversation. Yeah, it's 8:30.
Okay. Yeah,
It
it
went
didn't feel
quick.
like it.
It went quick then. See,
Yeah.
these live streams, like I be on for hours, bro. Next thing I know, I'm
Yeah.
be on 4 hours. It don't even feel like that. When you having a good conversation, time goes by very, 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 very quickly. So
For sure. I appreciate y'all boys in the comment, man. Y'all didn't rip me alive like I thought y'all would. For everybody who's been following the channel, probably not too many. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Sage. Shout out to Axel, Don Solo. Not too many names that I recognize because I don't go live too often, but I appreciate y'all for, hospitality on the Mark the Mentor show.
Well, this is the Wiseman show, just without Kirk.
Oh, my bad. The Wiseman show.
This the Wiseman show, just without Kirk today. Hold on, let me pull your channel up.
But I can say this, if I do make another video, because I'm gonna be making some more clickbait type videos, and you need to hold me accountable based on the information that I'm putting out, I'll be back.
Why you gotta make clickbait videos though? Why you just can't make straightforward?
I think that's
the title be what you talking about in the video.
Because it's such a big demographic of people who are not gonna click on that video for information. It's boring. Like you said, the how-to, you don't even want to make them.
I don't make the how-to videos because I don't want that type of subscriber base. I don't want the entry level because it's redundant. That's why, when I did one-on-one coaching, it used to piss me off. That's why I stopped. Yeah, because you got a person that's been in the industry for over 10 years and you're coming to me asking me Googleable questions. I don't want to, like, you're not even, I'm going to, like, I want to help people grow. I want to help people scale. I want to do the intermediate and the advanced stuff. I don't want to say, go to the FMCSA website. Go to your secretary. That's Googleable.
They got to start somewhere. And somebody got to show them how to do it. But I agree with your point. We can, you know what I'm saying, grow in our respective classes and still bring good value to people, and that's what I still look to do regardless. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for having me. Oh, what's that?
Yeah, you don't got to do clickbait though.
I know, and I usually don't. That's what I'm saying. But we'll talk more about it.
Okay, we'll talk more. All right, so here's Entre Mike's channel. Simple Entre Mike on YouTube. Make sure you guys go subscribe. Real good brother. Make sure you subscribe. You never know, might have him back on the channel.
Yes, sir. I need you on my channel, man, to go more into the LTL sector with the cargo van space, and box truck at scale. So for my viewers who are a little bit more tenure, I don't necessarily have too much content to bring to them, so maybe you can help bridge that gap too.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Oh, nothing for me.
What about your you want to do your insurance?
Oh yeah. So I am a full-time insurance agent with a top 10 insurance agency in the country, Charles Train Log Rock. So if you guys do want an insurance quote, I'll plug that in there. I'll put it in the just link it to the top of the description. If you're coming up for an insurance renewal, or you're a new entrant looking for a competitive insurance quote. You know, we write all new lines for venture. Oh, go ahead.
What's the link? What's it again so I can put it in the chat?
Oh, damn, I sent it to you. Hold on, I'll send it real quick.
Yeah, send it to me.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't really looking on broadcasting that, but if y'all do need it, you know, that might as well plug it in. If y'all want an HBO, help a brother out. Let's see.
While he's pulling that up, we got a new show after this show. It starts in about 30 minutes. It's a Wisemen after show live recap. Sort of kind of like, you know, when you used to watch those reality shows and then they have the after show live recap. So we're going to do it with some of your two favorite trolls, so to speak. So that show going to be a little bit more raw and unfiltered and raunchier. We're gonna have Isaiah co-host that and Kenneth. So, you know, it's gonna be a good time, good debate. We're coming up with that show in about 30 minutes. So as soon as Don Solo said fuckery. So that's what y'all want. So since Kirk ain't here tonight, I said, man, you know what? I gotta give them what they want. So we're gonna probably have a good debate with Isaiah and Kenneth. And that's coming back in 30 minutes. It's gonna give me a chance to grab me something to eat, you know, give me a little 30-minute rest, and we coming back with that at 9 o'clock sharp.
The chat funny as hell. They like that HBO. But all right, y'all boys. Guess he about to go ahead and take me off, man. You know, I'll be back sometime soon. I'm pretty sure.
Hold on, that's the link. No, we gonna get you back. We had a
for sure. It was good
conversation. Hold on, let me see. Put that in the chat.
And Kirk, when you come back, if you watching, dog, we're gonna get you back on, man. You got to come back over. If you go look at my top 2 lives, like I said, it was 3-4 years ago, man. Now my top 2 lives with Kirk, man. You got to calm down a little bit, brother. Calm down just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You got the knowledge that people need, but you know what I'm saying? Just articulate yourself a little better when you're upset, I guess. That's my word of advice.
Yeah, and I ain't, you know, that's why I kept him on the thumbnail. I'm not gonna replace him because this show was, you know, when I came up with the idea, it was for me and him. So I'm not gonna replace him. Just hopefully, you know, that's a touchy subject because when you know Mon Duke say something, you got to kind of, you know, so
fall back.
But you know, we're gonna keep Kirk. You know, he's the host. He's the host, right? So I'm gonna, you know, still show that respect and just hope he comes back, you know, sooner than later. But we're gonna keep the show going. After show recap live in about 20 more minutes now, 9 o'clock. So we'll be right back with some of your favorite people in the chat, Isaiah and Kenneth. Make sure you guys come back for that. So we're gonna have an after show recap live. We're gonna recover some of these topics from their perspective, which, you know, it'll be very interesting when you got Isaiah and Kenneth. And then we'll touch on a few more topics as well. Entre Mike, I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hold on, Entre Mike, I'm going to holler at you after I end this live. All right, guys, I'll see y'all in about 20 minutes. We'll be back. Peace.
Peace, y'all.